It looks weird?
I think so.
Because I'm not looking at you?
Yeah.
So if I look at you,
I think it looks
that's
better.
better?
Yeah.
My name's Dustin. I'm from a small town in southwestern Ontario. I currently live in Scarborough with my partner and our 4 cats, and I'm an episodic cluster headache patient. My first cluster headache was just about 10 years ago. At the time, I had no idea what it was. I know much better now, but the pain that I experienced 10 years ago is very similar, if not the exact same, as the pain that I experience now. It's just that now I know what to expect and I have a much better approach at managing it. 10 years ago, though, it was extremely scary. The pain, if there's a scale of 1 to 10, I would put it at 10 or 11. I don't know what it feels like to have an aneurysm or a brain tumor, but at the time, not knowing what it was, those were the things that were on my mind. I was near the point of calling an ambulance and going to the emergency room because I thought that something was seriously wrong. And as abruptly as the pain came on, the pain went away. And that was my introduction to the world of cluster headache cycles. My cycles, so as an episodic cluster headache patient, my cluster headaches come in cycles. Unfortunately, there's some patients who have cluster headaches chronically throughout the year, but mine come in cycles of about 21 days to 24 days. And I'll get 1 to 2 cycles per year over the past 10 years. So each cycle of 21 to 24 days, each one of those days, I'll get 1 to 2 cluster headaches that last between 1 and 3 hours. And during those 1 and 3 hours is when that indescribable amount of pain occurs. For me, it's right behind my right eye. And I've described it as if you can imagine your head was a pumpkin and what that pumpkin feels like when you're carving the inside of it out. And so the pain itself during the couple of hours for once or twice a day is really, really bad and really disruptive. But also throughout the 21 to 24 days, even when I'm not in that level of pain, I never know when another headache is going to come. So it feels like I'm walking around trying to live my life with a gun to my head, like someone has a gun to my head and is toying with me if I'm trying to make plans or trying to keep up with work obligations, and I never know if I'm going to be able to make it to that event or make it to that meeting. So during the cycle itself, like I said, it feels like someone has a gun to my head. It's hard to make plans. And then also to experience that amount of pain is really, really disruptive. It's also disruptive on my social life, on my home life. It adds an enormous amount of burden on my partner because essentially for that few weeks, I'm not doing a whole lot around the house. It's very difficult for me to bring my best self to anything, to work, to a social function. And then even after the 3 weeks or 24 days, I also experience a lot of frustration and anger and depression and hopelessness and feelings of loneliness and not being understood. And that is, I'm also aware of just how lucky I am to have a very large family that is understanding, a partner that's understanding. I've been really lucky to have employers that are also understanding and accommodating, but not everyone has the same situation as me. And so that's a big part of the reason why I wanted to volunteer to share my story, to make sure that there's a light on this condition. I would want other patients to feel heard, to know that it's a rare disease, but there are others who understand. There are healthcare professionals and patient groups and patients out there that know what you're going through, and you're not alone. And there are solutions. One thing that stands out to me is when I was finally diagnosed 5 years ago, which is 5 years after first experiencing cluster headaches, I was finally referred to a neurologist, and I was almost brought to tears when my neurologist diagnosed me and said he understands my condition, and when he told me that I don't need to suffer anymore. And I was almost brought to tears. And it's been true. So since being diagnosed and working through, I think everybody's treatment plan looks a little bit different, but it's a journey and it's a balancing act. And if you're in the right care and you have the right resources, it's a manageable disease. I would want to say thank you to caregivers. As a cluster headache patient, there's a lot of emotions that come along with the pain and the disruption to your life, and how we as patients manage that pain is not always perfect. So thank you for your patience. To healthcare professionals, I would say thank you for listening and engaging in Cluster Headache Awareness Day and being aware of cluster headache in general. I get the sense that there's not enough being done for cluster headache patients in Canada especially. So if you're listening and you're a healthcare professional, thank you for listening. Please continue to push for more education among general healthcare professionals, general practitioners, so that cluster headaches can be properly diagnosed and properly recognized and not confused with other head pains, and so that patients can get the treatment and the care that they should and that they deserve.